In California, the legal minimum amount of light that must pass through your front side windows is 70%, nearly clear glass. In New Mexico, the same window can let through as little as 20%. Limousine dark. 3 states, New Jersey, Vermont, Delaware, don't allow any aftermarket front tint at all, and the country is moving. In the last 12 months, Utah, Louisiana, North Dakota, and Iowa have all loosened their thresholds. Today on State Coded, how 50 states divide on how much sun reaches your eyes. 10 states plus DC require 70% or no front tint at all. 5 states sit between 50 and 69. 19 states, the median America cluster, at 35. 7 states between 28 and 34. And 9 states at 27% or lower. Limousine dark by some definitions. 5 tiers. 50 states, plus DC. There is no federal window tint statute. Window tint regulation is entirely state level, but there is a federal layer touching this question. Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard 205, codified at 49, CFR 571-205, requires automotive glazing to transmit at least 70% of visible light at the time of manufacture. Most factory glass is in the 70 to 78% range. The federal government regulates the glass. The states regulate the film added to it, which creates the combined VLT trap. A 35% film applied to 72% factory. Glass equals 72 times 35, which equals roughly 25% combined. State enforcement measures the combined number through the assembled window. So a driver who buys a film advertised as 35% legal in your state can fail enforcement because the combined measurement is 25, not 35. The math is the trap. Start at the strict end. 10 states plus DC require either 70% VLT or no aftermarket front tint at all. Alaska, California, New Hampshire, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and DC all at 70% minimum, nearly clear glass. Then 4 jurisdictions that don't measure tint by percentage at all, they ban it on the front side window entirely. New Jersey, Vermont, Delaware, and Michigan. Michigan is the unusual one. Michigan bans aftermarket front side tint except for the top 4 inches or down to the AS1 line marked by the manufacturer. The sun strip. A driver in Michigan can have a 4-inch dark band at the top of their front side window, but below it, no tint allowed. The other 3, New Jersey, Vermont, Delaware, don't allow anything, just factory glass. These 10 jurisdictions plus DC reject the percentage framework that the rest of the country uses. They've decided that visibility through the front side window is non-negotiable. 5 states sit in the 50 to 69% range: Minnesota, Ohio, Virginia, Wisconsin, and as of July 1st, 2026, Iowa. Iowa's move from this cluster's parent, see the 70% club, is the dynamic part of this episode. Iowa was at 70% through June. House File 766, signed by Governor Reynolds on May 15, 2026, dropped Iowa's front side window VLT minimum from 70% to 50%. Effective July 1st. Iowa was the only state in this cluster that came from above. The other 4, Minnesota, Ohio, Virginia, Wisconsin, have been at 50% for years. Iowa is now in this tier because the legislature actively chose to relax it. The map is moving. We'll come back to this in a minute. 19 states sit at 35%, the median answer in America. Connecticut, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Missouri, Nebraska, Nevada, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oregon, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, West Virginia. Almost 2/5 of the country. Utah arrived in May 2025 through House Bill 112, which dropped them from 43% to 35%. North Dakota arrived in 2025 through House Bill 1340, dropping 50% to 35%. North Carolina recently changed Session Law 2025, 47, December 2025, removed tint from annual safety inspections, though the 35% threshold continues on the road. Hawaii's Act 129 simplified rear window rules and added a window roll-down requirement at stops. The median cluster is the destination. States arriving from above, states staying for decades. 35 is the modal American answer. Brief pause. This episode is sponsored by my private community, 9 episodes in. The deeper question worth asking, how does a regulation move across state lines once a few states start changing? The community walks through legislative trend analysis. What triggers a wave like the 2025-2026 tint loosening? Which state usually goes first? Why others follow? Over 100,000 readers. Link in the description. Now, back to the walk. 7 states are in the loose tier, 28 to 34% VLT. Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Mississippi, Wyoming. Florida is the paradox in this cluster. Florida sits at 28%. The state has more solar hours than almost any other in the continental United States, and Florida's tint law is stricter than Alaska's. Alaska, where the sun barely rises for parts of the year, requires 70% of light to pass through the front side windows. Florida, where direct overhead sun is a daily reality, sits at 28%. The states have made very different judgments about how much sun a driver should be allowed to filter out. 9 states are at 27% or below, the darkest legal front tint in America. New Mexico at 20%, the darkest legal front tint in the country. Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, all at 25. Washington and Montana at 24, Colorado and South Carolina at 27. Louisiana is the most recent arrival. Act 143 from 2025 dropped Louisiana from 40% to 25. Louisiana jumped past several tiers in a single legislative session. Colorado is in this cluster, and Colorado is also one of 2 states, along with Kansas, that does not permit medical exemptions for darker tint. Drivers in Colorado with documented photosensitivity must use other accommodations. The cluster is concentrated in the South and the West. Same fiscal philosophy that we've seen across other tax and regulatory clusters. 3 more wrinkles. The country is darkening, and this is the structural insight from this episode. In the last 12 months, 4 states have loosened their front side window VLT thresholds. Utah dropped from 43 to 35, Louisiana from 40 to 25, North Dakota from 50 to 35, Iowa from 70 to 50, effective July 1st, 2026. Plus, Hawaii simplified rear window rules. North Carolina removed tint from safety inspections. 6 legislative changes, 5 of them direction loosening. The pattern is not bipartisan in the conventional sense. Utah, Louisiana, North Dakota, and Iowa span the political spectrum. The shared driver appears to be growing political consensus that VLT enforcement is low priority. Second wrinkle, Oregon. Oregon caps reflectivity at 13%, the strictest reflectivity standard in the nation. Most states cap at 20 to 25%. And finally, Hawaii's window roll-down requirement. Hawaii's Act 129 added a rule that at police stops, drivers with tinted windows must roll the window down. The driver-officer interaction is what the state is regulating, not the tint itself. Last week we mapped which states criminalize the device that warns about radar. This week, the law that decides how much sunlight reaches your eyes. There is no American window tint law. 46 states use a percentage. 4 states ban the practice, and 4 states loosen their thresholds this year. Same federalism, same map, and the map is darkening. Next week, the 21 states where your car can legally drive without a front license plate, the 29 that require one, and the surprising answer to which side of the country has been quietly switching to no front plate over the last decade. Subscribe so the algorithm doesn't bury us.